the fact that the sheriff comes out, Jonathan, just based on like feelings. It's my obligation, he says, that they are victims and I will not stand quiet when they are re-victimized. It's just my duty. It's every cop's duty to stand up and be the voice for victims. With NBC reporting, there is no indication this is the result of any new evidence whatsoever. So what is the sheriff doing?
Well, I think he's making an emotional statement, and it's not based in fact, because you can't clear people unless you know the motive and you have suspects and you have, and perhaps they do have that stuff and he's not saying, but he's not the voice of the family, and he doesn't speak for the family. He is there leading an investigation. And so, as you go through and do case study after case study, you'll see where law enforcement has cleared family members before, only to come back years later and find out that it was a family member that profited from the death of someone and actually either hired somebody to do it or carried it out in some way that they just weren't able to find until later on. So, listen, if it was one misspeak by this sheriff, that would be one thing. But he keeps saying and doing things that I think have put this investigation in real jeopardy. And I think any time that you tell the public that you need to calm down, or tell the media you need to calm down, the problem with that is that you're losing that force multiplier. So instead of saying these people are no longer a suspect, they're cleared, he should just come out and say, listen, the vitriol is getting so bad against people that you have no evidence against, and we're not looking at currently, that you're causing threats, you're causing potential danger to these families, and I need that to stop because it's hampering the investigation. You see how much better that would have been if he would have said that? I mean, this guy, he's pointed out once that one of the reporters asked him a question. She had a name that resembled a male's name, and he got in a conversation laughing about that. This is like 2 days after this disappearance. And so I think that he's been in, it says law enforcement in his bio for 50 years, but for somebody who's been in law enforcement for 50 years, he does not know how to work the media, and he certainly does not know how to run a task force investigation that utilizes all the tools in the toolbox.
Well, here's what's crazy, Maureen. Now he's saying to Local 13 News that the family's been 100% cooperative. He said that before. And that family members were ruled out as suspects in the first few days. Now, if he means Savannah, I can accept that. I believe she was in New York at the time her mother went missing. But if he's referring to Annie and Tomas, it's a lie. That's a lie. And we know it's a lie because we need only to look back at the sheriff's own statements. Here he is in a montage dating back since the beginning of this case in SOP 50.
Nobody's eliminated, but we just really don't have enough to say, this is our suspect, this is our guy, we know, or our gal. We just don't know that.
Are you actively investigating the son-in-law in this case? You said you haven't eliminated everybody. Have you eliminated him or come close to it?
We're actively looking at everybody we come across in this case. Everybody. It's so cliche.
What, Sheriff?
But everybody's still a suspect in our eyes. That's just how we look at things and think as cops. Does that mean we have a prime suspect? No. And the family's been very cooperative. They've done everything we've asked of them, and we want that relationship to continue. And sometimes people can be mean out there, and that can really harm us and harm our efforts.
Weird, Maureen. That doesn't sound the same to me as all of the family members have been ruled out as suspects from day one.
No, it doesn't. And he acts as if we're all being unreasonable for even questioning whether or not Nancy or Annie and her husband are involved, when, as I've said numerous times, and all of us on this panel here, we've done a number of rollback warrants to different locations, but I've never done 6 on one location. I mean, we're the ones following the facts. When law enforcement shows up at a house over and over and over and seizes a vehicle, and then the one, her husband, Tommaso's been completely out of pocket. No one has seen him since that day he did like that, the gangster lean in his car trying to get away from the press. We're not the ones being unreasonable here. And the only thing that this sheriff has said that has been definitive and decisive since the very beginning of this case was this report that the whole family is just not even in the crosshairs for this investigation any longer. Don't even think about it. Done. Finito. Well, that's going to be a big problem if we can't bring someone to justice. And then, as our other panel member said, and then 2 years or 3 years down the road, we get additional information, and now we're saying, oh yeah, someone is in the frame for this again. Now what are we going to do? It's going to cause problems for the trial.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think about the trial more. Focus on what this trial is going to look like.
Chad, I think about, the Tomas is who people have speculated about, originally based on Ashley Banfield's reporting, but also because obviously you look at the family first. And you know who else you look at? You look at the last person we know for a fact to have seen her. And that is Tomas Sioni, Annie's husband. How do we know that? From the sheriff. The sheriff told us that. He said it to the New York Times on the record, and then admitted that when he went back to that presser and said, oh, we're going to go with just the family, he changed that only because he didn't want to draw too much attention onto Tomas. Well, that's the most foolhardy thing ever. You can't say, I'm changing it from Tomas to just the family because I want to remove any suspicion or focus on Tomas, especially when you've been going to his house overnight repeatedly. You've sent people in there to search who have left with evidence bags. And we know that you impounded the family car, and you refuse over and over again to say that he's not a suspect on camera to reporters from the beginning of the case.
I mean, the sheriff needs some serious media training. So obviously, he's not good at crisis management either. He's not good at crime scene management at all. We've got, investigators discarding their gloves. I still do not understand why Nancy's house was not roped off, taped off, sealed until she's brought home. We talked about that the other day. We are seeing sloppy investigations going on here. And just like Maureen said, this very well, Megan, can affect the trial if and when someone is brought into custody for this. So again, what is going on? This is police 101. I mean, this sheriff's acting like he's on Paw Patrol. This is policing 101. You start with the family. All right. You start with the people who last saw Nancy, family. So again, in this back and forth stuff, this is why nobody, has any credibility with this guy.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. And he's not doing anybody any favors. If this were me and my mother, God forbid, I wouldn't care if they focused on me, my husband, my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, anybody. I would not, as long as they were still talking about my case, I'd be thrilled. That's it. What does the family of every missing person want? Media coverage. They would give anything to have the three of you moderating a panel about their missing loved one, day in, day out. If they had to be the subject of the speculation, so be it. The whole point is to keep your loved one in the news so that people are still thinking about her and looking for her. That's the name of the game. It's the only name of the game when it comes to finding a missing person, assuming you have a competent law enforcement leader who's going after the search. International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There is a never-ending list of reasons gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. And a never-ending list of reasons smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with Birch Gold Group. Gold can thrive during uncertainty, which is why it is a crucial part of a balanced strategy. It gives you peace of mind given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text MK to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider letting Birch Gold help you diversify with gold, so you too can have peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty. Text MK to the number 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.